Do it.
My stuff's slow, so we're probably live already.
We're live, yeah.
I think we're live.
We're live, man.
Welcome back, everyone.
So, play an intro.
And we're here.
So, David's the host of the show, but me and Ty's going to jump in and run it because we're all good buddies here. I think David's, we'll say devices are running maybe a little slower, but David will jump in and he's going to, again, choreograph and he is going to host the show the best he can. So if you see us doing our best, best friends, helping another man out,
Exactly.
That's where we're at.
I gotta say, I feel left out without the gold jacket. I gotta upgrade my my jacket game.
My StreamYard was just telling me your browser isn't playing the video, and I'm watching it on my phone, going, "Yeah, it is."
Yes, it is. Yep.
So it'll do what I want it to do. It's just it tries to give me an attitude,
Yeah, it's messing with you.
But here we are, guys. Title of the show: Niners sink the Buccaneers. We use that pickaxe, put a big old hole in the side of their boat, and down they went.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to start off by saying, Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the small guy with the weak arm that isn't your prototypical quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't have a deep ball, 76 yards higher. Had a 158.3 passer rating yesterday.
How much?
There are two other quarterbacks. 158.3, buddy. Two other quarterbacks in 49er history have done this. Pretty sure you guys can name them.
Was it in the same year?
Yes, it was. That's kind of crazy, but yes, it was.
So would you to say that the two other quarterbacks, is it safe to say that they could possibly have Super Bowl rings?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely safe to say.
I like
it's also
we're going.
Safe to say that they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Purdy's a Hall of Famer, folks. He's still young. But 158.3.
Hey, John.
Pass for over 300 yards. I mean, the Buccaneers defense they're not slouches. This year they showed up kind of remembering what we did to them last year, and they were hungry. They didn't want to get killed like that again, so that they were trying hard. I'll give them some credit. But we still
they
beat them.
They meant well.
Yeah, yeah. How can you stop a team with as many weapons as we have, though? Let's be honest here.
Listen, the Bucks are a terrible matchup for us. They just can't match up with us. We saw that last year, and it continued this year. They got nothing for us. They can't defend and run. They can't guard us on the outside. I mean, I don't care what their defense does to other teams versus us. It is no contest. None. They have no one on their team that can guard Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk could have had a 300-yard day if we wanted to, because he was open all day long. It was no contest. It was
I saw that too.
Yeah.
I saw a few plays where Brian and I where it's like, Purdy's trying to throw the ball to Debo, but then I'm looking like, if he looks beyond Debo, Brandon Ayuk's got no one around him.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. Yeah, but it's kind of hard to see, because there's a lot going on the field. He'd have to be like one of those 6'6" quarterbacks to be able to see that. And Purdy's not. He's not.
Like every play is designed to go to a certain part of the field, to a certain player, right? All right, on this side, on this play, Brandon's going to line up on the right, but we're starting off the progressions to the left, and we want to target, Debo and Kittle that are over there, right? I get it. I understand how offenses are called. However, this dude, no one could guard him. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. And they dared to leave him one-on-one basically all game. When will teams learn?
Well, didn't he have like 156 yards?
BA? Yep. 156.
It was a mad crazy number. It was a mad crazy number, folks.
Of just 5 receptions. I mean, he had the one big one, but
76 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Purdy throwing the ball deep, like he can't do. He's not supposed to be able to do that, right? It's good to see. It's good to see. It's nice Brock Purdy stepping up like this. The Tampa Bay defense, it's a veteran defense. That they have that Vita Vea guy. That guy's like a house.
He was a problem.
Straight up. Yeah, he's a house.
He did make some big plays and blow up some runs in there. When we tried to go up, he just blew Jake Brendel up, got in the backfield, and caused some havoc. So
he's honestly the type of interior lineman I've wanted.
Ever since had him. Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah, throw him in the mix with Armstead and Hargrave. Oh yeah, good luck. Throw him in on running downs. He's eating up 2 offensive linemen and a fullback just himself. That's ideal, right? But on top of the good defense, looked okay. They gave up some yards. They got some big timely turnovers, right?
Yep.
They only allowed 14 points, which is really what matters. But speaking of the defense, we are going to be without our guy, Talanoa Hufanga, for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
It sucks. I like saying the guy's name every time. Every time he gets a play and I'm watching it, I yell, Hufanga! I love saying the guy's name. What we got here?
Sorry.
Oh. I said that's the kind of phone you use, huh? No, just kidding.
Yep. The new iPhone Ultra. Oh man.
I showed you the back of mine. All you see is an OtterBox. No, not sponsored. YouTube. None of this is sponsored.
Nope.
Because my work's dangerous and very hard on everything, and
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that OtterBox, my phone would be toast 10 times over. It's got all these like marks and scars, and
Right.
it does its job. But again, not
Yeah.
sponsored. YouTube. It does its job though. But yeah, we will be without Hufanga for the rest of the season. It's unfortunate, he's one of our key players, safety, and now it's looking like Jair Brown, the rookie,
Yep.
came in, made a splash. Now it's only one game. I don't annoy anyone after one game. I actually used to share an office with a Broncos fan. They had Brandon Duck Allen, our QB3, comes in,
Yep.
has a good game, wins it. He's anointing him the next franchise quarterback after one game. I'm like, bro, there's only one game. He's the next big thing. I'm sitting there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look where he is now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's our QB3, right? But, he made a big splash. He looked pretty good. We haven't seen the roster. Whatever they're going to do to fill that roster spot has to happen quick.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sensing a Dante Johnson signing. I don't know about you guys.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's what I'm sensing here.
Death,
He can play
taxes,
safety
and
and corner.
Dante Johnson. Yeah. Yeah.
You can count. That's exactly it. Things you can count on, right?
Things you can count on. Death, taxes, and a Dante Johnson signing. They just worked him out last week. So they got a good look at him. And Kyle likes him. So hey. And once again, this is not Jair Brown will be the starter, right? We're talking about a backup role now, which is
that's correct.
Which is in the pecking order. George Odom will be the backup safety, and now we're just looking at someone behind him, right? Just to have bodies in there. So that's where we need this fourth string guy. Who could we bring in? All right, let's go with someone we know who kind of knows this defense, knows our players. Bring him in. We're not talking about him as a starter. And also, he can contribute on special teams, as we know. So we get that kind of added benefit there. So, from that standpoint, it kind of makes sense. We could sign him for super cheap as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You can count on Dante Johnson. You can count on him. On top of that, he's the Rams killer, so we kind of need him for Week 18 anyway.
Right. Exactly. So we joke about him, but he has been serviceable. Hey. He has done things, and it's like go with what you know at this point.
Yep. And this brings up the next subject: special teams coverage. They gave up a big return.
Huge.
Even Mitch Wazowski, the Aussie, got he even missed a tackle on that one.
Yep.
So,
but if it gets to the point where we
got some work to do,
yeah, but if it gets to the point where we're asking our kicker to make a tackle to save a big return, then the special teams unit has already lost the battle, right?
This is true.
If the kicker is the last line of defense and we're like, please make that tackle, we've already messed up somewhere along the way. So I don't blame Mitch for missing that tackle. He gave it his best effort. He got in position. He probably saved the touchdown by driving him, outward. But those other guys, those other 10 guys, they messed up.
But Brian, when it comes to tackling, though, hey, you remember Andy Lee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If whoever's returning got to him, they're getting cooked.
That was my guy.
I mean,
Yep.
that guy hit like a safety. You know, Mitch Wazowski is not Andy Lee. He's a great punter, but he's
No.
not Andy Lee when it comes to that.
Yep.
You know, what do you think, Bryant? What do you think about how our special teams did yesterday?
So there's been a lot of changes, right? Because we have different players that's been coming onto the offense, the defense, and sometimes when you don't have necessarily a starter on offense or defense, they play on special teams because they still have to contribute somewhere, right? So that's why we put them on special teams. But oh man, yeah, you can't have a kicker making the tackle. Shout out to Jose Cortez. If you know, the little dude would run out there. He'd kick the ball off the tee and be the first one down there to make the tackle. Maybe that's why he's not on the Niners, but we signed him a couple times, so we like something out of him, right? It was the heart. So I played football in high school, and the same thing, the kicker at the time, because I was the starting kicker. I become the kicker, but not the story of my life. But the kicker would run down and do the same thing. So sometimes when you don't just kick the ball and wait for it to, it's like baking a cake. You put it together and you let it bake, right? Not cook, you let it bake. But when you start messing with it, then things can happen. If you're the guy that's supposed to kick the ball and stay back, you're the last line of defense, right? So if they're getting to you, something definitely has went wrong, because all these other guys, there's 10 other guys that should have made that tackle. So shout out to Mitch Wisnowski, though. He's a punter, and he's still trying to make tackles out there. The offense, the defense, the special teams, they all can improve in their own little way. But I think for overall, man, we're firing on all cylinders right now. I think so. And like you said earlier too, Jake Moody made all of his kicks. Everybody's thinking we need another kicker. I think you guys just need to pump the brakes a little bit and just continue to enjoy the games, one game at a time. We're not at the Super Bowl yet, but we can get there.
Yeah, the kicking thing is people just being overcritical because he missed some, and especially the miss at the end of the game in Cleveland.
Yep.
It's like, and everyone just like kind of put all the blame for that game on him and Steve Wilkes. And it's like, we only scored 14 points that game. There was much bigger fish to fry than, missing one kick. Right. So, but Jake has been solid. I mean, he hasn't missed since
Minnesota.
Yep. Right. That first kick in Minnesota game. Since then, he's been money. No one's really mentioned his name other than like us being like, he's going, 3 for 3 and 2 for 2. So,
yep, that's what he did.
He's
too.
fine.
3 for 3 extra points, 2 for 2 field goals.
Yeah. So he's been fine. Some other areas we need to address, right?
Oh yeah.
The big concern for me is the offense. The offense was still stagnant in the first half. We got the ball to begin the game, which I understand the philosophy behind it. Let's jump on them early. Hopefully we can rest some players, right?
But you didn't win the coin toss. I don't think we won the coin toss.
I thought we did. I thought it was tails, and we chose to receive it.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
No, but
we got the ball first. Yeah, we got the ball, and I figured, all right, we'll score, try to score quick, early, jump on them, maybe rest some players at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
We got the touchdown on the second drive, but after that, offense was kind of flat. Once again, moved the ball, but didn't punch it in, and wound up settling for field goals. And, the score being just 13-7 at halftime, that's too close. It's just too close. They shouldn't have been in that game that close at halftime. Just like the Jaguars shouldn't have been only down 7 last week at halftime. The team needs to get it together and not wait for this third quarter outburst, I feel.
During the 5-game win streak, it kind of seemed like the offense took a minute to get going too, though. Minus the Cowboys game, they just, decided to go off on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like it took them until the second half to really get rolling. And, it's kind of what I'm seeing here. I would like to, I mean, if we chose to take the kickoff, that's kind of odd because Kyle's the guy that likes to start the second half with the ball.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of flipping the script a little bit. Maybe he wants to keep teams on edge because he don't want them to know what he's going to do. But, at the same time, we do need to start scoring points early. We got no choice. It needs to happen. Getting up big and putting the pressure on them early would be great.
Yeah.
And especially, the Buccaneers, they have, Baker Mayfield. He's not the greatest. He's not the worst. He's not doing terrible this season. But if anyone had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin at wide receiver, they're going to make an average quarterback look good.
Oh yeah,
So
most definitely.
And go ahead, Bryant.
Well, what I was going to say is I think like the first 5 games, I think maybe 1 out of the 5 we didn't score. Our first drive. I think we scored on almost every one of our drives opening, and that's after getting the ball from the other team. So we do typically like getting the ball at halftime. I think this one we went and punted early. It was on our first drive. I think we had a first down. I don't think we went 3 and out, but we did have to punt. And then the same thing I think that happened with Minnesota. We had the interception and then we fumbled, so we didn't score on our first drive there. And then I think we didn't score with the Bengals either, but I could be wrong with the Bengals. But I think our problem, and it's not every game, but I think our problem, and it shouldn't be, oh man, it's going to be this way because, we just kicked a field goal. But we do have a habit of going up 10 points. And that goes back to like Jimmy Garoppolo. That goes back to the Super Bowl. It's like we get 10 points and we think we've won the game. 3 points is not a touchdown. 6 points is a touchdown, and then you have the opportunity to get an extra point or go for 2 and convert and make it a 7-point advantage or an 8-point advantage. So I know that's simple math, but people get confused. So you kick 2 field goals, you scored a touchdown, right? But we're going down and putting up a touchdown, maybe getting 7 points, and then putting up 3 points and getting 10 points. And then we're trying to like ice the game the rest of the way. And I think people do get upset because we're not keeping the gas pedal on all the way. But at a certain point, you do have to understand, well, the guys have been going like 100 miles an hour, and for them to slow down a little bit and play a little bit more smarter or safer at the end of the game, I can see that. And then for them to have the confidence that says, oh, okay, well, they started to score, we can turn it on real quick. But that time that you don't turn it on, that time that you were supposed to catch that easy pass, but you drop it and now we have to punt, that's, I think, where a lot of people want to get to the point where we don't have these situations. I think it was Steve Young. He had a great interview. He's always doing interviews with everybody, but he had a great interview. And he was saying that, with the Niners, you were either up really big, or it's not like the NFL nowadays is every game is coming down to one score. It's whoever has the ball last. And it wasn't necessarily like that. I remember watching football when I was younger, and the game would get to a certain point, and I'd go outside and start playing with my friends. And my mom would see me, and she says, "Oh, I thought you were watching football. What happened? Oh, the Niners won, but they're still playing." Yeah, Mom, I know, but
they got it.
35 points. It's
they got it.
Yeah, so
game's over. Yeah.
So things have changed, and not every game's the same, but that's what I'm noticing is there's something about that 10 points. You can either say number 10 or something about that 10 points. We have to get away from just, settling for 10. We need to get 14 lead or a 21-point lead.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you mentioned, those games back when I watched them as well, and we were up 3 scores, right? And you're like, okay, this team isn't coming back. I'm going out to play some ball. Like we got this in the bag, right? It's not like that. When you're up like those 2 scores, and we know in the NFL, 2 scores isn't nothing. That could change quick. It's like we should be putting these teams away early, like what we did with Jacksonville. We kind of put them away early. We let them linger around in the first half, though. I felt that game we could have really put them away early, but especially with the turnovers the defense was getting. Like if you get a strip fumble on the 50-yard line, that should be a touchdown, right? Momentum is clearly on our side. Everything's going our way. Offense should be able to punch that in. No way we got to bring in our kicker for a 40-something yard field goal. That shouldn't happen. So we gotta get the offense like really revved up. I love the halftime adjustments. I love those guys coming out and firing on all cylinders. But I think if we're in position to leave no doubt and like set the tone early and be like, hey, this is our game. We know it, and you're going to know it too. We should do that.
Oh, well, 100%. It's always a nice, relaxing game, like the Dallas and Jacksonville games. Those are nice and relaxing games. You're just kicking it, you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
No stress going on. It's always nice to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something I did notice during this Buccaneers game is we still had, I believe, 6 penalties, or was it 7 penalties? Untimely.
Yeah, it was around there.
And
I guess my biggest gripe is we didn't put Sam Darnold in at all. I mean, we were up that high, and come on, right? You got to use it. If you got
remember,
use it, right?
Hey, dude, did you see what Detroit did to the Bears? 17 points in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So
that
it's kind of
right there, Detroit. Kyle will always bring that up and make the same point you just said.
Yeah.
Look what happened with Detroit. The Jimmy Garoppolo game, and we were spanking them, and it was like what 41-10 or something. And almost back and.
But we pulled all of our starters because someone got injured. I remember someone got injured, and that was after the Jason Verrett, injury. So he pulled everybody to save them, and then they just started coming back. And we shot ourselves in the foot. Remember, Debo fumbled, right? And something else happened where we gave them the ball easily.
Jimmy probably threw the ball to a linebacker.
We shot ourselves in the foot twice. That also gave them extra possessions, which messed things up. But the difference here is, we were in control of this game. It's a short week. Bryant, you mentioned bringing in Sam Darnold. I wanted to see more Elijah Mitchell, maybe some Jordan Mason, more some Charlie Warner, somebody bring in some backups to save these guys because we're on a short week. Right?
Yep.
Let's get them just as much
rest
as possible. Days. Yeah, and we got this hell stretch coming up with, like you said, 3 games in 12 days. So if we can rest a few guys as much as possible now, let's do so. So I was kind of upset when CMC was out there at the end of the game. I'm like, okay, you use Mitchell in the second quarter, third quarter, bring him in now.
It was the third series. I think Mitchell got to come in the game.
Yeah. So and he played most of that series.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Kyle's being smart. He's resting CMC some. I like it. I'm all for it. But then you get to the end of the game and it's like, where is he? He's nowhere to be found. And it's like, bring him in, rest him, right? Save Debo, bring in Ronnie Bell. Let's get these guys in there and rest our starters. And it just didn't happen.
I think Ronnie Bell did get to play at the end of the game. I think he got a pass.
I
wanted to see them a little earlier, like not on the last drive,
right.
Last drive, victory formation, taking knees.
Right.
That's when I saw him out there.
Yeah. And maybe not all of everybody come out at once either. Like leave a couple starters in there, start pulling people, and rotating them in. So it still gives the other team the illusion that you still got your starters out there. And then bam, before the game's over, it's fourth quarter. Nobody's out there that's a starter, but you are still doing good because these guys are now getting the reps. And I think
Yeah.
that's our problem. No, we don't have the preseason that we used to have. We don't have the training camp. We don't have the practices. So where are these guys getting game time, practice or reps? It's like players have to come out sometimes, and it's almost like pulling a tooth to get CMC off the field. I don't think anybody wants to pull a tooth, so it's like,
like Trent Williams should have been pulled. Like the rest of the line could have stayed in, but Trent should have been pulled. We know about him. We know about the ankle, short week. Let's pull him, put in his backup, and just let him play the fourth quarter or half the fourth quarter, something. Just get him as much rest as possible. That's what I'm saying. Like for this short week and this short time frame of 3 games we got coming up, I felt we could have been smarter and just resting some guys. That's all.
I know this is going to be like a slow turnaround for the next game, but then we do get a little bit of a vacation.
You get that mid-bye, yes.
But it's still not going to be the same. And then we have to go and play who? The Eagles? So you're telling me, oh, great. We're either going to come in and we're going to be like too loosey, like goosey, whatever you want to say. Like we're too relaxed, or we're going to go in and we're going to be, I don't know. Like, that's why I don't really even like getting the bye in the playoffs, because you see teams lose that, like, speed, that the grit or whatever, and then they come in, they're cold, and the next thing. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting because we're going to run into a little bit of a gauntlet, but so are the Eagles and so are the Seahawks, even the Cowboys. It's really funny. We play the Seahawks, then we play the Eagles. The Eagles tonight are playing the Chiefs. Then they have to play us. Then they play the Seahawks. The Seahawks have to go and play. They don't play Detroit. They have to play the Eagles, and I think they have to play Dallas after that, if I'm correct. So it's like the Seahawks aren't getting any. It's not getting any easier for them, and so I think the Niners we just got to win out, guys, and we can get the first round bye. I don't think it's going to get any easier for Eagles going forward, and for us, I think the only thing that can hurt us is injuries.
Yeah. Same way we're kind of in a tough stretch of our schedule, other teams are as well.
Yeah.
Right? And we got an opportunity to beat a few of these teams. We already took care of Dallas, some other teams. So we just got to handle our business and let the rest, take care of itself. Because these teams are going to beat up on each other. So we just need to handle our business, and we can definitely get that number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to keep playing 49ers football.
Man, I'm actually looking over the numbers for the game. Purdy was 21 of 25. He only passed the ball 25 times. 333 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to me like we had 29 rushers. So we had more rushes than passes. That's 49er football right there.
49er football. And that's what we like to see.
Hey, Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches, 156 yards, and a TD. George Kittle, 8 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown.
Yep.
It's like, CMC had 5 catches, which,
5
we were talking about this.
Yeah.
Is it Roger Craig's record? Did anybody actually find out? CMC needs like 4 more catches to break a record.
Trying to look it up. I think he did it.
But, I'm looking over this. Armstead got a sack. Bosa, Chase Young, all got a sack. Greenlaw and Warner shared a sack. So that means at one point Baker Mayfield was the meat in the sandwich,
Okay.
I'd hate to be in that position between those two.
Okay, so Steve-O confirmed what you said, Ty. It was last week. So we weren't sure if CMC was going for that record last week or this week. We knew it was the touchdown record last week, but if he broke the receiving record last week as well, then that was one of those cool little tidbits that everybody didn't listen to because they were upset about the TD record not happening. And, honestly, if everybody would have heard about the TD record, they wouldn't have known about the receiving record. They would have just put it together. So Shout out to Steve-O for bringing that up. Really do appreciate it.
Yep.
So wait. So just to clarify for everyone, we know about the touchdown record and what happened, but this week, Christian McCaffrey had an opportunity to break Roger Craig's record of most receptions by a running back through their first 7 NFL seasons. And McCaffrey did that yesterday.
Okay,
Right. So, Bryant, you're right. He only needed 4. And when he got that 5th one, he broke it. Well, he needed 4 to break it. So he broke it with the 4th and, went over it with the 5th.
Yeah.
So he broke Roger Craig's record for most receptions by a running back through their first 7 seasons. And he still has, the rest of the season to go to expand on that record.
And shout out to Steve-O, because Steve-O was the one who brought that up to me. I just got confused on what weekend it was. But hey, we got some record breaking things happening this season, guys. It happened last year and it happened this year. So you don't have to, break all the records to get to the Super Bowl, but they sure do help.
Yep. Helps when you got good players.
Yeah.
And we got a ton of them.
Yeah, good players help other players even better.
Exactly.
Well, we do have a ton of good players, and I'm kind of watching Monday Night Football off to the side, folks. Nothing special is going on right now, other than the refs being the refs.
Yeah.
I thought about watching it, but I thought about watching it, but I heard Taylor Swift wasn't going to be there, so I didn't think it was worth it.
Oh my gosh.
So there's no point.
It might be a fair game, actually.
All right, so I have an injury report going on here this is the repercussions from yesterday. We do have Hufanga out for the season, unfortunately.
Yep.
He will be missed. We have Hargrave is listed as a limited participant with a thumb issue.
Burford, okay.
Burford's knee is still showing up on the injury report, but he played all 60 snaps, no problem yesterday. Right. I didn't see him limping around, so I'm assuming he's okay.
Yeah.
Ray has a rib injury from yesterday's game. This may be why we saw Mason in on a return play at one point, right?
Well, the ball was kicked short. Ray was out there, but the ball was kicked short.
That's right. That's right.
That's why Mason
came up and grabbed it.
Took off. Yeah.
Man, we need to get the ball in his hands. I swear.
Like it was funny. It was funny. I was there. So everyone in the stadium was like, "Hey!" It was like, so that's how we got to get Jordan Mason the ball. Let him feel some kicks. Oh man.
Hey, let's be honest here. We had a 49er reporter, I guess we can say, ask Kyle a question about, who's running back 2 or 3. How he phrased it may, offended Kyle a little bit. Yeah, whatever. He was trying to make a point here. Jordan Mason is averaging 5.6 yards a carry on the season.
Yep.
Elijah Mitchell is 2.4, although he did have 4 rushes for 24 yards in this game, which is a 6-yard rush average.
Mm-hmm.
So that's better. That's better than 2.4. But
You know what? I think that defined or that clarified between that press report. It doesn't matter what your stats are. It matters what I think you can do. And maybe he has confidence in all of his players. But I think if he thinks this player is going to be able to do it, he's going to run with this player until he's been proven or, in his mindset that player can't do it. So, I don't think stats matter. You could throw 10 touchdowns, but if Kyle don't want to play you the next week, Kyle's going to go with a different hand. It doesn't mean he doesn't think you're good. He's not saying, bye, Felicia. It's not like that at all. But he might not be around for a while either.
And let's not forget, it's not like Elijah Mitchell was getting a ton of carries either.
No.
what we're talking about here is just resting CMC for the long haul, right? Making sure he doesn't get overtaxed,
Yes.
preventing him from getting injured. There's games we've seen where we have a good lead, right? Where we can rest him some. He doesn't need to be out there. On 3rd and 1, you got fresh legs. You got 2 bigger backs that you can go to say, "Hey, we're going to run this power run, put your head down, pick up a first down, give the ball to them instead of slamming CMC up in there," right? Just to protect him. That's all we're talking about. Protecting your number 1 player, because we all know the offense goes through him. That's all we're talking about. So whether you're using Elijah Mitchell or JP Mason, just get them in there to spell this guy. That's all we want. That's all we want. And we all know that that's just smart football. If you can spell him some, spell him. Like in that Dallas
Keep him
game when he
fresh
took
for
that
the
head,
long haul.
he got face masked, he took the headshot. It was like, anyway, let's get him off the field some, rest him some. Nope, he never left the field. And I'm like, Kyle, pull him. Coaches, pull him. He just got yanked. He just got whacked in the head. Like, pull him. Make sure he's okay. Let's rest him just for a couple of plays. Not even the rest of the game, just for a couple of plays. Check him out. Make sure he's okay. Nope. Just slammed him up into the line. And it's like, oh, that's not how you preserve a player.
No, it's really not. And I'm keep thinking about the long haul here, having him for fresh and ready every game as deep as we go, which hopefully it's to, the Lombardi trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go with a 3-headed monster. 2019, we had Mostert, we had Tevin Coleman, we had Matt Breida, and Kyle would run the hot hand. Now it's like, I got CMC. He's the hot hand all the time.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, guys,
I don't know what else to say, right?
Do you think it's because just possibly Mitchell's been injury prone for the last little while? That is why we went ahead and got CMC. Then, Wilson, who, we let go right after that, he was also a little injury prone. And Wilson and Mitchell both did 2 different things. Now we got JP Mason and stuff, right? And everybody's all really hot on him. But let's be honest, wasn't he here for Trey Lance? So is that a different offense that they're trying to implement? Because I know we had Trey Sermon here for Lance, JP Mason, and they were talking about this whole offense changing and it being a deep shot. So is JP Mason like a holdover, or is he going to be able to adapt to this offense that we're currently running right now? Or, again, or is this he's just not in there because he just doesn't know how to block as well and nobody wants to say it?
I don't know. I don't know why you said he was there for Trey Lance. That
because when they drafted Trey Sermon, they had drafted him to be in the same type of offense that Lance was in, and they were saying that when those 2 are on the field, they're going to be running this type of offense. So then it wasn't under center offense. It wasn't the same offense that we were running with Jimmy Garoppolo. It was different. That's why they were having problems, and that's why we let Trey Sermon go, because we weren't going to run that offense with Trey Lance and Trey Sermon. So he went to the Eagles, and now we went and drafted another running back that had similar attributes to what Trey Sermon has, and now we're not using him either. So I like the guy. I'd like to see him out there. He gets 5 yards a carry. We were using him earlier in the season, but something fell off, and I don't understand why we started using Mitchell when he was only getting 2 yards. He didn't seem to be any healthier or faster. The only thing it breaks down to me is he doesn't know how to pass block. I've seen him run out there and catch the ball. He seems to be a better pass catcher than Mitchell. So I don't know, guys. Why isn't he getting on the field?
Well, hold on. All right, forget the whole Lance thing. I don't get that, because Kyle's going to run his offense. We all know that. We all know we got CMC, and that was just the missing piece to Kyle's offense. That's why Kyle went out and tried to get Jarrett McKinnon years ago because he wanted a back that's a good runner and receiver that could come out and do a lot of those West Coast principal things and use him in different things, put him in the slot, put him out wide, etc. Now, when it comes to just running the ball and running Kyle's power game, that power run game, that's why you have two bigger backs who can do these things. We saw Kyle use JP Mason last season. We've seen him come in, close games. We've seen him spell CMC at times and get out there. We've seen Elijah Mitchell do that as well when he's healthy, right? And so we know that Kyle can use him. Like in the Raiders game last year, when we needed to come back and we were down, right? He used JP Mason. CMC wasn't on the field. He used JP Mason. Hey, JP, I'm trusting you. I'm going to give you the ball. Run it. Power run. So he has used him. This season, he hasn't used him at all. And it's puzzling. It's puzzling as to why not. It's like, why are you just putting him in garbage time, right? Or when CMC is hurt? Why can't you use him more? Or even Elijah Mitchell. When Elijah Mitchell was out there, it's just like he isn't running his typical stuff. If you look at what Mitchell's running, he gets like a delayed handoff. It's like a draw play. It's not really a sweep to the outside or the typical stuff that Mitchell excels in. It's like he's saving all the good stuff for CMC. And it's puzzling as to why. No one can understand it. I know only Kyle knows, as he should, but it just doesn't make sense when he's used both of them in the past. Like Elijah Mitchell was the primary runner in 2001. He knows what he can do. Why aren't you using him? It's the biggest question mark on his team right now. Why won't you use these backs, even just to spell your number one guy?
Okay, so it is really weird, right? Because Mitchell always falls forward. And this year in training camp, he was getting knocked on his rear end. When you're not supposed to get, tackled to the ground. Then at the beginning of the season, Mitchell came in with a groin injury. He came in with a groin injury, and so did Kittle. But Kittle was still out there making all these blocks and stuff. Mitchell JP Mason did get into the game earlier this season, and he has done, like I said, he's caught the ball, and he has had some plays. But he's not the focal point at all. And like you said, last year they did have him close out some games and stuff, but it's not. And I'll get a little bit more information for you on as far as the Trey Sermon and the JP Mason similarities and why they're talking, but you do understand, and I think you know what I'm talking about. There was a Jimmy Garoppolo offense, and then they were trying to install a Trey Lance offense, and everybody said, well, why can't Trey just run the Jimmy offense? And when they just started trying to run the Jimmy offense, that's when we started having a lot of problems. But
the Trey Lance offense was Trey running QB power up the gut 15 times a game. It wasn't him dropping back, throwing the ball. That has nothing to do with our run game, handing the ball to the running back. And I know there was some read option elements with that, and maybe that's the thing. But the bread and butter is this team, as we know, is the zone run, whether it's a power run inside or a stretch run outside.
I think
that has nothing to do with quarterback. It's not quarterback dependent. Just handing the ball to the running back.
You understand
that. Are the same.
You understand that very well, and probably a lot better than a lot of people, me included. But when they bring in a deep threat, and our quarterback can't throw the ball deep threat, and now we're not using the deep threat because we're not using the quarterback with the deep threat. You take everything you said and put it to the side. What this offense was eventually going to be gearing up to, and we've had a lot of discussions with different people, everyone around the Niner community, they want to score really fast. And they want to get away from this Kyle Shanahan running the ball down the field for 10 to 15 minutes a quarter. And they want to just go out and score really fast. And that's not what this offense was geared up. This is what the players we had. So then they went and they did. They got a running back that could do the same things that they were talking about. We were just talking about. They went and got wide receivers that could do the same thing that they wanted for Trey Lance. But they wanted Trey Lance to still run the basics of what you just said, the bread and butter of this offense. But what the bread and butter of this offense is fine for a lot of 49er fans who just want to win. But for those fans who want to win really fast and have like splashes and highlight reels and stuff, they're not satisfied with that bread and butter. They're not. They want somebody who can throw the ball 80 yards and score really quick. And that's not the offense that we have. Maybe one day, but that's not the offense we have.
Well, kind of the misnomer to that is that those splash plays, like you saw yesterday with Brandon Ayuk, you saw one last week with George Kittle. They've been in the offense since day one.
Yep.
They're there. Kyle calls plays every week where a shot is supposed to be taken. And we've seen this since he's been here, right? A lot of times, well, most of the time, he hasn't had a quarterback that can execute it. And we've lost sight of that over the 5 years with James Richard Garoppolo, because we know what happened when he would throw the ball deep. It would be off target, thrown out of bounds, or he wouldn't throw it at all. How many times have we seen the receiver downfield waving and the ball gets thrown 5 yards from where he is? Like, his deep ball was just non-existent. Or when he did throw it, like in that Tennessee game when Juice was wide open downfield, just threw it over his head.
I've seen James throw deep, and I made a sandwich and ate it by the time it got there. It was,
I think it got worse. His deep ball got worse after his injury, the KC injury. And after that,
he lost all confidence in it.
Yeah.
So it's a confidence thing. You got to be able to execute that throw, and he lost all confidence of it. Like, how many times did you see him throw outside the numbers? It just didn't happen. Everything was inside the numbers, middle of the field. Outside the numbers, no, sir. No. Like, Brandon Ayuk has had that same play he ran yesterday plenty of times where he's beaten this guy and gotten loose downfield on the outside, and Jimmy would check it down. I'm not throwing that ball. Oh, look, the Kittle's open for 5 yards here. I'm taking that. So now you got a guy who's a gunslinger who's not scared to put it up. Like, oh, my guy is one-on-one deep. I'm taking that shot. You see the results. Like, those plays have always been there, but quarterback just didn't throw it.
And I agree that the plays have always been there, but it's because he sets up the plays in the front of that allow those plays to develop. If you just come out, and we're talking running 5 wide receivers, from the beginning of the game, then we're not going to have the same offense. And that is what they were gearing up with Trey Lance. That might not be everybody's opinion here, but that's what a lot of fans wanted. They wanted a quarterback that could come out and just fling the ball any place and for people who just seen what Trey Lance's arm could do, didn't understand what he ran in college, what he did in high school, or even fathom what the 49ers aren't a 5 wide receiver team. And we probably won't ever be a 5 wide receiver. You want 5 wide receivers? Go watch the Jets. Go watch the Eagles or something like that. You're not going to see that here. It's not going to happen here.
Wait, real quick on that point. I'll take it a step further. How many times have you seen the 49ers with 4 wide receivers on the field? The most you get is 3 wides. That's it. You get 3, a tight end, and a running back. You have never seen us with 4 wides on the field. That's just not what Kyle does. And that's the thing.
And the only time you see 4 guys lined up wide, one of them's a running back.
Yeah.
So it's like, split out. You really don't split out. You don't see more than 3.
Yeah. We never get more than 3 actual wide receivers on the field at the same time. And that's just people not understanding the offense, not understanding what Kyle runs. People thought, I understand. Oh, we got Trey Lance. We're going to be throwing the ball all over the field. Nope. It's still going to be a 25 to 30 runs per game offense. Take the short stuff, take some deep stuff, and run the offense as is. That's it.
Well, so we do have a Monday night football game happening today, guys. And
Yeah.
I was just kind of watching it on and off, and
I see it's
this
7-7
says
right
it's
now.
tied. That can't be right.
6.5 to go in the second quarter.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's one touchdown each.
Oh, Mahomes threw a pick in the end zone. And that was after I think Fields
Yep.
threw a pick. So defenses are stepping up or offenses are playing bad. One or the other. But hey, let these teams beat up on each other. There you go. Hurts just got sacked. There you go.
That's exactly it. Let them beat up on each other,
Let them
right?
beat up on each other. Yep.
And so this next week, it's Sea Turkey time, guys. It's Turkey Day, so I'm changing the names. It's the Sea Turkeys.
The sea turkeys.
Shout out
Okay.
to John Mahoy, just John Majoy. He's the one that actually thought of that to start with. But yep, Turkey Day is coming up. We got the Sea Turkeys at Seattle. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, their other wide receiver was it Smith and Jimba? Or
Yeah, whatever his
I'm
name
probably
is.
hacking that up.
Yeah.
And then Bobo, but I don't know if Bobo's going to be in the game. I don't think he was in last week's or this week's.
Not sure.
But
Not sure.
we'll see what happens there. They have good defensive backs. we have good position players. When it matchup wise, it actually should be a fun one to watch.
Yeah. We
If you're
should
not a
come away with the win.
49er or Seattle fan.
Yeah, we should come away with the win. Their team is mostly young. They don't have, guys
Mm-hmm.
except for like Lockett and Metcalf who've been around for a while, Smith, but like defensively, a lot of those guys are young and our guys should be able to take advantage of them. Our defensive line should be able to get after Geno just like they did last season. And we should be able to come away with the win. We just can't beat ourselves. Seattle is a weird place to play. Whenever we go up there, weird things happen. We tend to beat ourselves. Even last year, we came away with the victory, but we still did weird things. Robbie Gould missed the field goal. Oh, yes, he did, people. Everybody thinks Robbie Gould never missed anything. He missed a field goal. Yes, he did. Right? Brandon Ayuk dropped the easy 6-yard crossing pass. It hit him right in his chest, and he dropped it. It was weird things like that happened in the game. We all know the pick six that Lenore had. Bosa falls on him. Stupid refs. The refs. We always got to fight the refs in Seattle. They throw a penalty on the play. Things like that. We just got to take care of business up there, and get away with this
Play a
win.
clean game.
Come out healthy. Yeah, play a clean game. Get out of there healthy with the win. That's all I'm looking for.
That's what I'm looking for too. I want to see one of our players eating a turkey leg on the Seattle symbol in the middle of the field. I want to see this. Games like this is where I miss John Madden. Because him and his now here's a guy, and then he'd be pointing at the turkey with 8 legs on it, talking about it for about the first half of the game.
Man, for you young people who miss John Madden, you miss television gold, because he would pull it up on the telestrator and start circling the legs, and then he'll point to the stuffing, and he'll be like, "Oh man, that looks good." I mean, it was just gold to just see and hear him work. Just beautiful. TV hasn't been the same since he hasn't been around.
That's a fact. I miss John Madden.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But yeah, do you guys got anything else before we kick on out of here?
Now,
Yo,
just everybody just stay faithful, take one game at a time, and enjoy it. Listen to the noise, but only listen to the noise that you want to listen to, and form your own opinion. And go from there.
yeah, I gotta say the team is rolling. We are doing some very good things. We're playing some complementary football again. Well, the offense is doing their part, defense is doing their part, special teams is holding up. We got to stop those returns. But real quick on the special teams, we talked about this before. Steve Wilkes took a lot of heat with his play calls and stuff. We got to start holding Brian Schneider's feet to the fire on some of this stuff because everybody sees Jake Moody kick the ball short. We know he has a cannon of the leg. He can kick the ball out of the end zone every time, but Brian Schneider is instructing him to kick it short to get a return. So hopefully the return team can pin the team inside the 20. But when you're up 2 scores and the defense is hot, that's not necessary, right? Kick the ball out of bounds, make them start on the 25, and let the defense go out there and just kick butt like they supposed to. No need to get special here and like, oh, let's do this. No. Keep the game simple, right? He needs to be held accountable for that. That's all I'm saying. I know the players need to do their job, but it's situational football, and he's got to realize that. David, you muted yourself. You're on mute.
I love it because it hits it and and it flashes, but then it stays muted. It's great. But so it's always go 49ers, folks. Always.
Yeah.
And even though I picked the Rams last week and somehow, some way, they pulled out a victory. Shout out to Seattle's kicker for missing
Yeah.
that, game winning 55-yarder.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But it's always go 49ers and F the Lambs.
Exactly.
We'll see you folks next week, hopefully for another victory Monday.
Heck yeah.